Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia if you're new here, and today is an exciting video. I've been so excited to film my first wrap-up video. I have 10 books that I read in one DNF and then one book that I started and didn't finish. So all in all 12 books, but mostly I read fully 10 books. So we're gonna talk about those books. I'm gonna try not to ramble because like sometimes I just ramble and I don't even make sense. So yeah, that's what the plan is for today's video. I literally sat down because I wanted this video to be like fully like I want to give all the information about my month of reading, so I wrote it down just to make sure. I wanted to make sure that everything was like fully done well, I guess. I don't know what I'm even saying. See, this is what I mean by rambling. Anyways, let's get into it. I did everything in order from like the DNF all the way to 5 stars. I had lots of 5-star books. I'm not like a harsh critic when it comes to like ratings. If the book makes me have like different types of emotion throughout the whole book, then I'll most likely give it like 5 stars easily. But there was a couple that didn't make 5 stars that did make 4 stars, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, let's get into my month of reading. Okay, so I'm gonna pop up the first book that I read and DNF'd. I talked about it in a weekly reading vlog. If you saw that, it was called Pretty Little Miss by Carmel Rhodes. I don't even remember the book that well because I just did not like it. So I DNF'd it mostly because I couldn't get over the fact that the main guy, Max, was calling the main girl, which I don't even remember, I think her name was Ellie. Basically it was like an office romance. He was the boss, she was the new employee, and she needed the money, so she had to stay there even though he was like a jerk to her. But he would call her Piss Girl because the first day that she stepped in the office, she had stepped in pee on her way to work and she didn't notice it, and then when she got there he started calling her that, and I was like, no. But then once they started having like a relationship, he wouldn't stop calling her that, like as they were like, you know, having a relationship. So I was like not into it. I read Truly by the same author and I loved that book, but I just did not like this book. So I DNF'd it about like probably like 30% of the way through. Just couldn't do it. The next book that I'm going to talk about is one that I started and didn't finish. I've been reading this book forever, you guys, like literally forever, and I just haven't like finished it because I keep picking up other books. It's just because these books have so much information. This is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire from the Blood and Ash series. This is the second one, and it's so good. It's really, really good. It's just a lot of information and like story. It's a lot of story, and I just kept reading through it throughout the month and then picking up another book and not finishing it, and by the end of the month I didn't end up finishing it. You can see my bookmark is right there, so I'm about like 75% of the way done. So this is probably the first thing I'm gonna try to finish this month. And yeah, so I didn't rate this one, but you'll definitely probably see it in my next month's wrap up. But I did want to mention it because I read a very good chunk of it. Like as you can see, I think I'm like 400 pages in, so I read around 400 pages of this book. But yeah, I love the Blood and Ash series. There were so many books to read this month, and this was taking forever because I'm not like the fastest reader. So yeah. Okay, so another one that I read on Kindle was Breedless Night by Ashley Jade. I really love Ashley Jade. Cruel Prince is one of my all-time favorite books ever. I like connected with that book so incredibly. So this is Jace's brother Cole's story, and he falls in love with Dylan's best friend, which Dylan is Jace's girlfriend in Cruel Prince. So Sawyer and Cole fall in love, and this is their story. It's very much enemies to lovers. Cole is like completely so hateful. He hates Sawyer because she's just like such a good person, and you'll see why, like if you read the book, why he hates her. It's nothing too serious. It's just like I don't deserve you type love. So so he hates her. But this was really good. The smut was really good as well. The plot was really good. I just I didn't like it as much as I liked the first one, and I guess that's because I don't know, the first one I just hold it to a really high standard because I just like really loved it. It was one of the first books I read on Kindle Unlimited that got me into romance. So this was good. I gave it a 3 just because there was points where I really hated Cole and I was just like, quit being annoying, just stop being annoying and just get with Sawyer. Sawyer was pretty much precious the whole time, but like It did deal with like body image and Adderall. I think it was Adderall because she was trying to lose weight. So that was kind of like for me, because I struggle with like diet culture and stuff like that. So I was just like, that's a huge trigger. But you know, there was that aspect of it, and then also the fact that I didn't love Cole that much in this book. So he's like pretty mean. He's horribly mean. Jace was a lot sweeter, even though that was an enemies to lover as well, but Cole is like vicious. So if you like your dude's vicious, that's a good one to read. So Breedless Night, 3 stars. I would recommend it, and I will continue on with the series. I didn't love it as much as I loved Cruel Prince. The next book I read was Sarah MacLean's Bombshell. This was like actually my first historical romance book that I ever read. I don't know why I picked this one. I think that I just saw it on someone's channel, and they were like raving about it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try because I am interested in trying historical romance. So I did read this one and ended up only giving it 3 stars. This story is about Cecily, hopefully I'm saying that right, and Caleb. Basically, Caleb is Cecily's sister's best friend, or like they're really close, and he was just always staying away from Cecily for that reason, or so she thought. But there was actually a much bigger reason why Caleb didn't want to be with Cecily, why he would always turn her down, even though apparently she was like the most beautiful like woman ever. The story was good. It was interesting. I did finish it. But I did get bored at some points, and that's like a huge for me. But I'm thinking I'm just not used to the way historical romances are, because I've only ever read romances like from this time, from the present. So it was different, like listening to the way the author like wrote the characters and how they spoke. So it was just something to get used to, and I think that's why I only rated it 3 stars, because the plot was good. Like I liked the enemies to lovers type vibe, and then I also liked how the twist in the plot and stuff like that, and we do find out something serious about Caleb that's insane. So it was a really good book. I just don't know, I was very bored and it was hard to finish. So I did give it 3 stars because I probably will try and read the second one because I am interested in the plot. But I don't know, it was hard to get through. I'll definitely have to pick up another historical romance and see how I feel after I read it, because I do want to get into historical romance because there's so many of them. There's like so many to go, like to read. So hopefully I can get into it. I don't know. If you like historical romances, I feel like you'll really like this one because like I said, the plot was good, the romance was good, the smut was good. It's just like I did get bored. I did get bored. Okay, so now we are getting into my 4-star reads of the month. This was one of the first books I read this month, I think, actually. Actually, no, the first book I read this month was Get a Life, Chloe Brown. But anyways, this is The Marionettes by Katie Wismer. I keep saying Kate Wismer, I don't know why. She's a YouTuber, a booktuber, an indie author here on YouTube, and she's like an indie author, like I said. This is her book, The Marionettes. So I was watching her process of writing this book and promoting the book and all of that, and so I was really interested to read it. It is free on Kindle Unlimited, but I do love physical. And I thought that this was beautiful, the cover, so I did want to buy it physical and like support her in that way, because like I said, I do watch her channel. But basically this book is about a blood witch. Can I remember the girl? Valerie. This is a blood witch named Valerie. She gets assigned to like a vampire. I think all the blood witches in this universe get like assigned to a vampire, and this is kind of like her story. There wasn't that much romance in it, so I only rated it 4 stars, but the plot was very good. It was like super paranormal, like magic fantasy, and then also romance on top of that. And in this book I feel like we explored her friendships and her like life more than we did the romance. So in the second one, I think the author said that there's supposed to be more romance, so I am interested in finishing it, and I did think it was really good. I liked the writing. I loved Valerie. I thought she was pretty cool. There's a plot twist. The ending is it ends on a like cliffhanger, so that was like, you know, pulling me in. So this was a really good book. I wish I could give you guys a better synopsis, but honestly, like I said, it was one of the first books I read this month, so I don't like fully remember everything that happened. But yeah, it says the academy is full of sabotage and could you call this dark academia? It almost is dark academia, which is really fun. So it says the academy is full of sabotage and secrets as the tasks begin, because she gets assigned to a vampire, which he ends up being the prince. So Like I said, I don't remember a ton of it, but this was really good, and I did rate it 4 stars only because the romance wasn't that great. But I mean, you know, it could grow in the second book, which I'll appreciate. The next book that I also rated 4 stars was Get a Life, Chloe Brown. So I really enjoyed this book. It was like one of the first books I read this month, so I don't remember a ton of it. I know that we have Redford Morgan, which lived in Chloe's building. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, so we have Chloe Brown. She deals with like chronic pain. I forget what she calls it, but she deals with like chronic pain all over her body. So she's pretty much like a homebody. She stays at home, and one day she was walking on the side of the street and almost got hit by a car. And after that moment, she was like, I need to live my life more fully, and she wrote a Get a Life list. And on that list it said things like go camping, have a one-night stand, things like that. And she meets Redford, and she does crush on him initially, but she's like the type to be like no, like I don't know how to explain it, you know, like when sometimes when you like a boy and you're just like mean to him. I feel like that's how she was, and he was really nice to her because he did find her super attractive. But then when he met her and saw that she was like mean, he was like no, but why does she have to be so pretty? But they end up like getting together, and he ends up seeing a deeper side to her. Like she is this kind, sweet person. She's just dealing with a lot, and she's like super closed off for that reason. So it was a really, really cute book. The only reason I did rate it 4 stars is because, oh, and the smut was great as well. Like it was really, really, really good. But the only reason I rated it 4 stars is just because, I don't know, I didn't like cry or like anything like that. And I like to have like several different feelings when I like read a 5-star book. Like I need to cry and like laugh and like fan myself because the smut was so good. And I did like laugh and the smut was great, but I don't think I cried, which is like a huge thing for me. So I don't know, cry happy tears or sad tears, it doesn't matter. Like I'm a super emotional person, so if I don't cry, then I know it's not like 5 stars. I would even give this 4.5 stars because it was very good. So I do have the next one, Take a Hint, Danny Brown. It's literally right there. So I'm gonna do that one next because I really do like the Brown sisters or whatever. Okay, the next book I read this month was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I did decide to pick this up because it is so talked about and loved, and I totally get it. I rated this 4.5 stars, and just listen to me when I say why. Because this book is about Lily. Lily is, she owns like her own flower shop. One night she's sitting on the top of the roof like contemplating her life because her father just died, and meets a neurosurgeon. His name is Ryle. So they get along, they connect. He was like, hey, are you up for a one-night stand because I think you're beautiful? And she was like, sorry, I'm not that type of girl. I have a whole reading vlog on this book, by the way. She's like, sorry, I'm not that type of girl. And he's like, man, dang. But he's like, dang, because like if you were, I think you're beautiful, whatever. So they don't talk again for like 6 months, and then one day Lily falls in her flower shop, and she has an assistant who like went to go get her husband because her husband, or no, yeah, went to go get her husband and Ryle because they are doctors, I believe. And when she sees that it's Ryle, she's like, oh my god, this is so funny, whatever. And so now that Ryle knows like where she works and where she lives, one day he comes over to her apartment. He's like, I can't get you out of my mind, like can we just sleep together one time, that's it, and I'll leave you alone. And she's like, you know what, whatever. They don't end up doing that because things end up happening, but then they meet up again, and she brings like her best friend, like her gay best friend, and Ryle ends up seeing that, and he's like, no, I want you. Thus their relationship begins. So Ryle ends up doing some pretty crazy stuff to Lily in this book. I don't want to spoil it, but if you've read it, you know how freaking traumatizing it is. And it was so sad because my dude's a neurosurgeon and he's handsome. Like the smut was great. Like it was so sad and heartbreaking. And at the same time as we're getting Lily and Ryle's story, we're going back in the past and reading Lily's journal of when she met Atlas, which was a homeless boy who lived behind. Okay, my camera keeps dying. This is so frustrating. But I did not feel like there was enough like of a connection between them in present day. So I was just like, the ending was like, and she ends up with Atlas, and I was like, what? Okay, that quick. But yeah, this is still a really good book. It's so much, there's so much humanity in it, and I love it. So many lessons to be learned, and I mentioned that in my reading vlog. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. I love Colleen Hoover. I will definitely be reading all of her other books. The next one is also something I read at the very beginning of the month. This is The Roommate by Rosie Danon. Basically, we have Claire who moves in with a porn star named Josh, and they both believe that women deserve better sex. And that's like the synopsis. So that's what like drew me into this book. And their love story is so precious and cute, and I loved it so much. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I don't know why I misordered it, but this one was 5 stars for me. I thought it was like the cutest rom-com. I think it would make the best movie, like the best, cutest rom-com-ish movie ever. So I did really love this book. Their story, everything was amazing. So definitely check this one out. Next one is Games We Play by Dana Isley. This one I actually read on Kindle Unlimited for the first time, but I did end up purchasing it because obsessed. This one was also 5 stars. I don't know why I did this so out of... Oh wait, no, because we're on to the 5 stars now. What am I talking about? We're on to the 5 stars now. That's why The Roommate was 5 stars. So many 5 stars, by the way. This one was so good. This is about a masked gamer named Jack or Jake, one of the two. I can't even remember. But basically, he has an interview that comes up. He gets interviewed by this girl named Quinn, and Quinn basically like is like, I don't understand why people like are obsessed with you. And he's like, because like my voice, my aesthetic, everything like that. And she was like, so they're into like different type of kinks. And he was like, yeah, like they are. And she was like, I don't get it. And he was like, well, let's have one night together and I'll show you like everything that like makes me me, I guess. And they end up falling in love. It is so fun, you guys. Like, I think this is so fun, and it is super kinky and like different, but like if you're open-minded about it, then I think you'll love it, because it's pure smut. It's pure smut. But when you're in the mood for pure smut, this is like a super fun smutty read. So yeah, I loved this book, and I do want to reread it physically because I bought it because this is so aesthetic and like Halloweenish to me. I love it. So yeah. The book was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This was easily 5 stars for me within the first couple of chapters. Main character Piper and Brendan, and basically Piper is like 28. She lives off her daddy's money in LA, and one day she gets into some pretty big trouble, and her dad is like, I'm sending you to where her stepdad, her stepdad is like, I'm sending you to where your dad used to live because it's like a little small town and you need to figure out things for yourself and like live by yourself and not off my money for once in your life. And so she goes to this town. She's super like, by the way, this is like Schitt's Creek inspired, so she's super like bubbly and like fun, but immediately Brendan doesn't like her because she like comes in the town and she's just like, you know, herself and bubbly and whatever, and he's like, this like rich girl is here, like no. But then Brendan ends up like really taking a liking to Piper. He like is so protective over her, and he actually in this book wears a wedding ring, and we find out the whole story to that. I laughed, I cried, the smut, fantastic. Brendan, so spicy. Piper, so spicy. I thought this was amazing from the first 2 chapters. It will make an amazing movie or show, whatever. Like, it would be so good. I would watch it. And yeah, I loved this book, and I definitely want to go through it and annotate it next time because there's so many good moments, and it's just the perfect romantic book. Like, if you're in for some light romance, this is like the perfect book. And I hate that I waited so long to read it, but I'm so not with like the trends. Like, if something is popular, I'm like so against it, and I don't know why I'm that way, but this one was definitely worth it to me. Next one, by the way, that one was 5 stars. I don't know if I mentioned that. This one was also instantly 5 stars for me. I did pick this in my book of the month, and this is The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. So this is a story about Olive and Adam. He gives me Adam Driver vibes, like serious Adam Driver vibes. We love that. I was picturing Adam Driver the whole time. But basically, we have Olive here, who one day is in the hallway and turns around and kisses him, and he's like, what the heck, why did you do that? And she's like, because my best friend won't date this guy that asked me out, and I really want her to date him, but she doesn't believe that I'm over him because he chose her over me, and so I just did it really quickly because I wanted her to see that I wasn't into him. And he was like, okay, that's weird, but okay. And then one day Olive's in the hallway talking to this friend who is into this guy that she's not into anymore, and she's like, I didn't know you were dating Professor, I forget what his name was, but Professor whoever. And she was like she got super tongue-tied, and Adam came up behind her and was like, yeah, like, how are you, like, whatever, and pretended to be her boyfriend. And so we have fake dating trope. Amazing. We love it. We love a fake dating trope. And this is like the cutest story of their love, and it does have like one spicy scene in it, like like one spicy scene, which makes the whole book that much better, because as cute as that is, adding that spicy scene just gave it a whole nother element. They're also scientists, so he's a professor and she's a student, but they're like close in age because she's like a science student, so, and she's not even in his class, so it's not super taboo because I believe she's like 26 and he's like 34 or something. It's not super taboo, but this is definitely a 5-star read, and definitely a read that you need to pick up if you like rom-com-y things. It was so cute. We love fake dating. That's always the best. So loved this book. The next one I'm going to pop up right here because it was actually an ARC when I first read it, and it is out now, so if you want to go buy it or download it on Kindle, do it. It was so good. It's The Girl Who Belonged to the Sea by Catherine Quinn. I'm so happy this was my first ARC because it was so amazing. It was so good. I loved it. It was literally so good. So we have our main character. What is her freaking name? I've already forgotten it. I forget what our main character's name is, but she basically gets super abused by her father her whole life. She doesn't really know why, but one day she like starts hearing things from the sea. She thinks it's weird, but she just like moves on. And one day her father calls in the office and is like, I've arranged a marriage for you. You're gonna get married, and that's that. And she was like, okay. And so they, on the day of her wedding, they get attacked by pirates, and eventually we find out that they're not pirates. It is a king. All right, anyways, that is The Girl Who Belonged to the Sea. Definitely read it out and check it out. I know I didn't do a great synopsis, but my camera has been crazy, so I'm over it at this point. Last book I read for the month, I literally just finished this morning, so technically does it count? Yes, it does, because I fell asleep last night when I was supposed to finish it, and I literally had like 10 pages left, and I was reading on my Kindle and I fell asleep. So anyways, this is Haunting Adeline. I was calling it Hunting Adeline for the longest time, but it's definitely haunting. So this book is, it says it's a cat and mouse duet, like when I bought it on Amazon, because there is a second one, because this one leaves off on such a big giant cliffhanger. But anyways, this book is crazy. So I picked it up knowing that it was like about a stalker kind of romance, but this book is dark. This book is very dark. So if you can't handle like dark stuff, not for you, girl, not for you. It was very dark. So we have our main character Adeline, or Addie as she gets called throughout the whole book. Basically, she has this like really big mansion, and her great grandmother actually passed away in the mansion. She was murdered in the mansion, and her mom, Addie's mom, doesn't want her to live in there because she kind of knows why the mansion is like technically haunted or whatever, but she doesn't want her to live in there. But anyways, Addie's stalker, his name ends up being Zaid. He breaks into her mansion constantly and is like leaving these things for her to find, and she's like freaking out. She calls the police multiple times. The police don't really help because he's like such a perfect criminal stalker. He doesn't leave a trace ever. Also our main character Zaid, he is basically like a Dexter. If you've ever seen the show Dexter basically is like a murderer who only murders like bad people and people who do crazy things. So as you can imagine, there's some graphic things that happen in this book that Zaid does like try to murder the people for, and the end was crazy. He actually, I don't want to give away too much, but it actually lives on such a big cliffhanger, and I'm like freshly wounded from this cliffhanger because insane. But basically Zaid is successful in stealing Addie's heart, even though he's like a super stalkerish like dude, and he kind of like pushes or like forces her for most of their relationship to like be in the relationship and to like do things with him, which is like, do we hate him for that or do we love him? Because she ends up like engaging and like it ends up being consensual, but like wasn't. It's just like this thing where we're like, do we hate Zaid or do we love him? I think I personally love him because I love him because I loved Dexter the show. Anyone who is like only going after bad people for like reasons that are this dark, like the reasons in this book, I'll love them. So this book was crazy. It was 600 pages, it was very long, but the words on the page were like really not that bad. So yeah, and we also like end up solving Gigi's murder in this book, which is Adeline's great grandmother, which is really interesting, and it's very dark. It's very like haunted mansion, like vibes, you know what I mean? So Haunted Mansion Murder. I didn't realize this would be like a thriller-ish almost, so it definitely is dark, but I did rate it 5 stars. Did I rate it? I think I rated it 4 stars. Sorry, I totally skipped this one. See, this is why I wrote the list and I still get out of order. Wow. Okay. I did rate this 4 stars because it was very dark. Like I said, it wasn't my usual taste, and if I was like super into dark romance, I think I would have rated it 5 stars. I definitely will pick up the second book though, because it left on such a big cliffhanger. But this was a 4-star read for me, just for the fact that it was very dark for me, and it's just not usually something that I read about. But you know, one day maybe I'll change it to 5 stars. It just really depends on how the second book goes, I think. But for now, 4 stars was really good. I do recommend it if you're into dark romance. So that was my reading wrap up for September. I did 10 books, I DNF'd 1, and I didn't finish Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what books you read this month. Let me know what books I should read for October. I do have 2 books that are sitting right here that I'm about to start. The Nature of Witches and the Ex-Hex. So this is actually the book of the month this month, and I already pre-ordered it. Wow. Good for me. Anyways, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.